Blast me to Alectia! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 49, Part 2, Gallery and Battle Report. Woohoo! Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, including a squeaky chair. This is going to be my first edited video for the Imperium Journey. As it's such a big battle report, I thought I'd make a little bit more of an effort. So first up, here we have our gallery of the completed models just up to the magazine standard. So we have our Battle Sisters here with the Seraphim Superior, the two special weapons, Flamer and Stormbolter, the Icon Bearer carrying the Simulacrum, our Mistress of Repentance, or Repentia Superior as she's now known, and of course our Sister Superior with her chainsword and bolt gun. So as I said, these are done to the magazine standard and they do look pretty quite nice. I did go a little bit overboard with some of the edge highlighting. I did more of the raised areas than the magazine actually suggested I do on some of the models, but I'm sure at a later date we will be going over them in a little bit more detail once we get a few more paints. Next paint issue is Dawnstone and Pallid Witch Flesh, so we'll be highlighting areas of flesh and areas of black. I think we'll most likely be doing similar to how the Premium 1 Chaos Space Marines are done. We'll edge highlight the Sisters' power armor with blue, then their levers, so the corset and the gloves with the Dawnstone. But there we have our Sisters. And here we have our Penitent models. So we've got our two Sisters Repentia, our Arco-Flagellant, and our Penitent Engine. I'll get it right one of these days. But they are looking pretty nice, and just done some magazine standard. I have done the extra detail of the wood on the back of the Penitent Engine there. Other than that, everything is just to the magazine, and I did highlight the vials on the back of the Arco-Flagellant. I think I might have to end up repainting over those because I got a feeling we'll be doing those in the Evil Sun Scarlet that we get in a future issue. Speaking of future issues, it was nice. A friend of mine shared my thoughts on future issues with Fohammer, and his response was pretty darn close. So I think I predicted 2 more paints, the pipes, another Wraith, and I think the Space Marine Outriders, or possibly the 2 Wraiths. So similar to what we've got with the Cataphron Destroyers wave, where we had paints. I think it was Terrain. And then the 2 breach, Technomancer, Chronomancer, yes, I got it the first time. That's it wasn't. Anyway, that delivery where we had the 2 Cataphron Destroyers, paints, and another issue. I think it was Necron, I can't remember. Too long ago. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think we'll be getting between 1 and 2 Wraiths in that delivery and 0 to 1 Outriders. So we'll have to wait and see for when Fohammer gives us our latest reveals for our future issues. But we do know that we are getting our last lot of Sisters in the next delivery, plus the Triarch Stalker, and as I mentioned, the 2 paints earlier. And then after that, I believe, like I said, it's open to debate, but I'm thinking I'm not going to be setting this in stone, but my money's going to be on Evil Sun Scarlet and Calgar Blue, the pipes, And as I said, either 1 or 2 Wraiths and then 1 issue of the Outriders. But we could see the Outriders in the next delivery after that, which will again include paints, the Outriders, and I think what else is coming for the Necrons. I think that's about it for the moment. We are getting some of the other bigger stuff, but that's a later date. But I think I've blabbered on enough. So that is the gallery. Now we will set up for our biggest battle yet. So before we get into the battle, let's take a look at our forces. So the Imperium side is split between the Adeptus Astartes and the Adeptus Sororitas. So we have 8 Assault Intercessors. We have our command cadre of a Captain, Lieutenant and Phobos Librarian. Squad of 5 Assault Intercessors and 3 Aggressors. In our sisters, we have a squad of 7 Battle Sisters, 3 Seraphim, our single Pentient Engine, our Canoness leading the force, our Repentia and their Superior, and our Arco-Flagellants. And of course the Warlord, according to the narrative, is the captain. On the Necron side, so we have 2 squads of 10 Necron warriors. This is the first one, all armed with Gore's blasters. 5 flayed ones, 2 squads of 3 Scarab swarms, a spider and a wraith, and a plasma sight there as well. We have the Royal Warden and the Overlord, 5 Immortals, 2 Mancers, so Chrono and Techno, a Solitary Tombblade, 3 Scorpic Destroyers, and there's our other 10 Necron Warriors. So it's literally everything that we have for the Necrons bar the first 3 warriors that we got. There we have a beautiful shot of both forces. There, that's going to be one heck of a battle. Right, I'll just set up my camera for our overhead of shots. And I'll be doing it turn by turn, so we'll do turn 1 with an Ultramarines and then a Necron turn, and so on. So we are now deployed. Here we have in the dead centre our Imperial forces. The Adeptus Sororitas is holding the North Quadrant, while the Space Marines are showing themselves up on the South Quadrant. Being a little bit more durable, they are prepared to venture forth into enemy territory if the need arises. On this side, the Chronomancer leads a horde of Canoptic creatures, including a Wraith, Scorpic Destroyers, loads of Spiders, and loads of Scarabs, and then the Spider. While over on this side, we have a big wall of silver marching towards the enemy lines. So our poor defenders have to hold up for 5 turns in this mission and try to hold off all infantry units to stop them from activating one of the 2 objectives that will cause the end game. So before we get playing, it's time for some dramatic reading. Escalation. The Battle Sisters of the Alectian mission have fallen back to the heavily defended Ministorum district that surrounds the towering Basilica of St. Marcius. The Necron Overlord has no intention of allowing them respite, however. The tireless legions of the Saltec have already begun a new assault, seeking to deactivate the shield generators and power units that feed the Basilica's formidable defences. Necrons, Overlord, the relentless legions. The Overlord's patience for grinding attritional warfare has finally run out. The progress of his legions has ground to an abrupt halt against the wall of ceramite armour and the formidable defence batteries of the Basilica of St. Marcius. Desperate to break the stalemate, the Overlord's forces have launched a large-scale assault on the Imperial power networks that feed gigantic structures' defences. Imperium, Primaris Captain, a unified defence. Since landing upon Alectia with the first wave of Imperial reinforcements, the Ultramarines captain and his brothers have been involved in constant fighting. Responding to the call of their Adeptus Sororitas allies, they now find themselves called upon to help defend the Basilica's power nexus, and preventing the Necrons from overrunning the last intact defensive position on the surface of Alectia. So that's the story, and this is the battle report. So, as our battle report guide doesn't tell us who goes first, we'll roll a dice to see who gets first turn. Ouch! And the Necrons sees it with a 4. So, in reserves we do have 2 units, one for the Sisters with the Seraphim, Deep Striking, and the Flayed ones for the Necrons. So let's begin our first turn with Necrons Turn 1. End of Necrons Turn 1, and we've made some good advancements on our left flank here. The Canoptek Wraith slunk up and hid behind the container, ready to jump out and assault the aggressors there. The Scorphet Destroyers advanced up with a massive 6 to their already pretty quick 8. And the Canoptek Plasmacyte, he followed suit with another 6. The Chronomancer managed to just get a 3, but still that's enough to keep him up with the Scorphet Destroyers. Spider and Scarabs advanced with their flying abilities that way. And here the Silver Wall marched forward and unleashed everything they could at the Assault Intercessors here. It took 5 squads, so the Warriors with Gore's Reapers, the Tombblade, the Technomancer, the Warriors and the Overlord and the Royal Warden over there to wipe out 3. So that was a good 30 shots, I think, to wipe out 3 guys. Not very good. So let's see how the Ultramarines will fare on their first turn. So here we go with Imperium Turn 1. Imperium Turn 1 went pretty well for what little happened. So the Sisters opened fire with their bolt guns, killing 3 warriors, but 1 got back up. The Assault Intercessors shot and then charged into the Tombblade, doing a grand total of no wounds. The Librarian proved pretty useful. He single-handedly killed a Scorphet Destroyer. And the aggressors put another wound on with their Flamestorm Gauntlets. Not too bad. I've also pulled them back, so it's going to make charges hopefully a little bit harder for the Necrons. But my main objective is to hold these objectives and keep them from Necron control. Morale tests were the Scorphet Destroyers who passed, and the Assault Intercessors who, again, passed. So that's it for turn 1. We're now on to turn 2. End of Necron's turn 2, and things are starting to look a little dire. The Battle Sister squad has been reduced heavily in numbers thanks to the Necrons' combined shooting. The Scarabs have devoured the Arcoflagellants over there. Over here, the distance the aggressors put between them and the Scorpex weren't enough to get them out of range. They charged in and killed 1, which was actually pretty lucky for the Ultramarines. They managed to do 2 damage to the Wraith and 2 damage to the Destroyers back, though, so they haven't done too badly for their lost combat. But it's on to... Oh yeah, the assault intercessors have been decimated by 20 shots. That's a little overkill, but it's one less unit for the Ultramarines. So anyway, on to the Imperium Turn 2. End of Ultramarine Turn 2, and it's been a pretty explosive round. So we shot up the Tomb Blade with the Flamer, scoring 6 hits and 5 wounds, and it failed all its saves, so roasted to a crisp. The Stormbolter and Boltgun picked off 2 Necron Warriors, and Plasma Pistol failed. Oh, I forgot my Spider died to the Repentia. It took them with it because it actually, the one time I remembered to roll for explosion, it rolled a 6 and blew up. Did a mortal wound to the Scarab Swarms and a mortal wound to the Repentia Mistress and all her Repentia, so they all died automatically. Actually, no, they don't. They get a 5-up ignore wounds. 1 survives, yay! So I'll bring back my favourite. So yeah, she still has 1 Repentia to whip around. Over here, the Scorpion Destroyer killed an aggressor, which sadly freed up the Wraith, so he is free to act on his normal on his next turn. Although he'll just slunk away anyway, and he's going to go munch some Ultramarines. Other than that, not a lot has happened. But the Imperium is in a sorry state. We are getting pounded from each side. We have backup of the Seraphim, but the Necrons also have backup in the form of the Flayed Ones. Librarian did good again, getting 3 mortal wounds on an already 2 wound model. Already wounded model with 2 wounds, so he just wiped out a single Scorpion Destroyer. So he's doing pretty good finally for his psychic powers. But anyway, that was the end of turn 2, so we're going to move on to turn 3. Okay, end of Necron turn 3, and the Ultramarines have actually pushed back some pretty good fights. The Repentia over there managed to kill a single base of Scarabs that charged into it, and the Mistress. Scarabs out there charged the Battle Sisters, killing 2 of them. The Sister Superior took revenge on her squad, doing 1 wound, and the Canoness wiped out the remaining 3 on the base. Over here, 4 warriors died, but 2 got back up. It's the Pentium engine. Shooting phase went pretty well. I killed 3 out of 5 assault intercessors. 3 out of 8 assault intercessors with the Necron warriors and the Immortals. The Flayed Ones came in and just sat there on the edge of the battlefield. Wraith charged in and died to the poor, to the overpowered captain there. But we're still holding out, and it's now time for the Imperium turn 3. End of Imperium turn 3, and, well, the Ultramarines came, they saw, and they slashed a lot of Necrons to pieces. I don't think I've ever rolled so well for a charge in my gaming career for the Conquest Imperium collection anyway. Not only did the Assault Intercessors, Captain and Lieutenant charge out and wipe out the Necron Warriors and the Flayed Ones, the Aggressor here also charged and wiped out the Chronomancer. The Repentia and her Mistress has wiped out the Scarab bases over there. Finally remembering that I chose the Passion to be active really helped. And I have held off on bringing in my Seraphim because at the moment we are holding up pretty well. So the Seraphim will come in next turn regardless. And hopefully I can hold off because the Necrons only have 3 characters and 1 unit. So there's a very little chance they can actually activate the objectives. They're going to have to push out. So the Scarabs over there have managed to wound the Canoness, though, so not doing too bad. Mr. Librarian decided to come out and give a hand, but he just smited the Scorpet Destroyer to death, and the aggressor flamed the Plasma Site in the shooting phase there. So the battle is definitely turning in favour of the Imperium, so... Excuse me. Turn 3 becomes turn 4, and the Necrons really need to push in for that final fight. Predictably, Necron Turn 4 was pretty short. The Immortals shot and killed the Penitent Engine, while the Royal Warden did a single wound on the Assault Intercessors. The Crypt Deck also shot with his Staff Light, but did no damage. And the Overlord is just trying to keep out of way, because I don't think even he would be crazy enough to go up against 7 Space Marines with a lot of attacks. But things are looking pretty good. Oh, I forgot to do the Scarab Base's attacks, so let's just do that on camera quick. So the Canoness would have gone first with her... Hang on a sec. I think it's 4. Yes, it was 4. 4 attacks to the Canoness. Ouch. I miss 1, but I gain 2 thanks to the Passion. Wounding on Freeze because Power Sword. That's 3 wounds to the Scarab Base. He's still alive. Where's my 3 wound markers gone? There we go. Why are there so few 3 wound markers in that set? So that Scarab Base then gets its 4 attacks back against the Canoness. Hitting only once. Wounding. Yes, it does. Canoness with a 3-up save. Ouch, she takes another wound. But either way, that is now Imperium Turn 4. I forgot to do the fight for the Scarab Base, which was still in combat with the Sister Superior, and she finished it off. So, Imperium Turn, the Ultramarines tactically withdrew back towards their objective. The Repentia and her mistress went towards their objective. The Aggressor and Librarian also moved back up to the home ground. And I think even with turn 5, it's not going to end with a Necron victory. I'll play it just for the fun. But I think we're going to have an Imperium victory for one of the most important and hefty battles of Imperium so far. So, focus. Turn 4. The final turn has begun. Turn 5. So, with the Necrons, they decided to hunker down, but I thought with the narrative being the Overlord's a bit fed up with the grinding assault, he decided to venture out. He would have made a charge if his Immortals and the Crypt Deck hadn't killed 2 of the 5 Assault Intercessors. He attempted to charge the Captain, but dropped an inch short. So it is going to be an Imperial victory, but let's bring in the final battle. So the Seraphim are going to drop in, and I think maybe the Captain might run out and meet that challenge after all, with some backup, of course. Here we go then, with Imperium's turn 5. And the Imperium have won. So with a gutsy charge at that overzealous overlord, the Imperial High Command has dispatched him. The captain did but a single... Oh, he did 2 wounds. The lieutenant managed to do no wounds. The librarian, on the other hand, did a mortal wound with smite and finished off the overlord with his force sword. So I think man of the match is the librarian there. But we have endured. Alectia survives, but this is not going to be the end of the Necron advance. For in the next mission of Imperium, we have a match where we're just using the Sisters of Battle, and we face off against a ton of Necron models. So that's going to be a fun little match, I think, but that won't be until next week, because we are getting, of course, the Royal Court. So that is the Scorpion Destroyer Lord, the Plasmancer, Crypto Fools, and the Reanimator. And as I mentioned in my build guide for 49, issue 50, I will just be building and painting the Reanimator, as we're not using the rest of the models until the next battle. So it'll be quite a good little issue. It's 2 battlefields, 2 maps wide, so I can go back to my table for that one. But I think, all in all, we're going to bring everything in for a quick final thought. So here we are with the final shot of the match. So it was an Imperium victory. And, well, I think I could have done the Necron side a little bit better. I think if I'd split the warriors up, then maybe done two squads with 5 and 5 of the different types of guns, that might have put a bit more pressure on the Imperial forces. I think perhaps kept a few more units in reserve and come back in on later turns might have been useful. For the Imperial forces, I don't think I could have done any different, really. They hunkered down and defended their objectives with all the gusto they could manage. We had a rather limited force. We aren't even at full strength on the sister side yet, but we still did pretty well. I'm surprised I had any sister models left. Definitely keeping the Seraphim off the battlefield. They are fragile, but they can dish out some pretty harsh damage. It's a pity they failed their charge. They would have been able to get in and hopefully finish off the 3 remaining Immortals that was on the battlefield. But I think definitely the clincher was the massacre of that overzealous overlord there. Anyway, that has been the battle report for issue 49 of Imperium. So like I said, this is going to be my first edited battle report for my Imperium Journey. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought. And would you like to see this more often in the Imperium Journey, where I edit things and cut out the unneeded bits like that pause? Just let me know what your thoughts are in the description down below. As usual, there are, of course, all my links in the description as well. Please like, share with your social media groups, and help the channel grow. So I would like to take this time to thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.